What's up, Fight fans? Thank you for tuning in. You're listening to Global Fight Talk. This is your host, Lisa Marie. And on the line, we have a very special guest. We have none other than Adrian Clark. Adrian, he is the founder of AC Sports Management. And also, he has a book called, that came out that we're going to be talking about as well. It's a guide for young entrepreneurs. And also, he was on 30 and 30 on Forbes list. So that's a big accomplishment for anyone that young. So let's go ahead and introduce the man of the hour, Adrian.
Yes, ma'am.
How's it going? Hey, that was pretty good, wasn't it?
That was an amazing introduction. I got to give you credit for that. Thank you. I had to look around for a second. I didn't know if you was introducing me or someone else, but thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, that is all you. Listen, like I said earlier, thank you for coming on. This is our first time ever talking, so it's an honor to be talking to someone like you who's so motivated, goal-oriented, and so young at your age. But we're going to talk about that later on during this interview. But first, let's go ahead and talk about AC Sports Management. Is this for boxers only or just all types of athletes, or do you just mainly focus on boxers?
For right now, my main focus is combative sports, of course, boxing. I started the company working with NBA players. I was a sports agent certified through the National Basketball Players Association when I first started my career. So I thought that I was starting this for NBA players, but come to find out that I was creating a home for professional boxers. So I made the switch over in 2012, I believe, but I initially started it for NBA players, but here I am today representing professional boxers. So I'll look to get back to NBA hopefully maybe next year, depending on how things go in boxing. But for right now, things are moving, and I'm enjoying representing professional boxers.
Right. Okay, well, that's awesome. You said you started off with the NBA. Now, I read somewhere you started working for a friend of yours who was an NBA player, C.J. Miles. Is this something that just motivated you to do something like this, or it's just, something that just came about?
Yeah, I fought in the amateurs in college. While I was getting my undergraduate degree, I was mentoring kids at the neighborhood center down in Corpus Christi, and I was talked into actually gloving up and getting into the ring. I was relatively old at the time. I was 21 years old, so I was very behind. I thought I knew how to but I didn't know anything about boxing. So my first time in the ring, I sparred against a 15-year-old who really showed me what boxing all was about, or what it was all about. But I fell in love with it, and here I am today. But it initially started in college when I boxed in the amateurs. That was my love for boxing, my initial love for it. I ended up moving to Salt Lake City with CJ a couple weeks after I graduated college. Was helping him out with his NBA career, and got the call from Jerry Belmonte.
Okay. Hello?
Hello?
Adrian? Yeah.
Lisa,
are you there?
Yeah,
I can hear you. I don't know what happened, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I think I blanked out when I was talking about Jerry Belmonte hiring me. And things kind of went from there in regards to management. So I got love for boxing, but I actually did it before I stepped on the business side of things. I actually had a pretty decent, okay amateur career, but I got knowledge inside the ring and outside the ring.
It always seems like you get, the knowledge. It's always great to be hands-on, so you can understand the fighter's side, the aspect. But once you go into the business, then you realize, there's a lot of athletes who don't understand the business aspect of it. They just know they just want to sign the contract, they want to make that money and show up to fight, and that's it. And then there's someone like you, Adrian Clark, who comes in to go over all those other details that they're missing, right?
Right. And that's the plan. And I mean, that's why I thought of the boxer manager agreement, not to switch to. But fighters need to. They tell us before we actually get into engagement, protect yourself at all times. And I take that as the referee not only telling you that inside the ring, but he's also telling you to do that outside the ring, because the fighters do have to further protect themselves outside the ring, because there's no athlete union for boxing. There's one for the NBA, there's one for football, there's one for baseball. There's a union that's in place to protect the athlete and solely the athlete. We don't have that in professional boxing, so I always encourage the guys to protect themselves at all time, inside the ring and outside the ring. But it takes knowledge and it takes experience to protect them outside of the ring, so I'm stepping up to the plate and looking to further protect them outside the ring with the new agreement.
That's very interesting that you said that. Me being a fighter as well, hearing that statement, protect yourself at all times, right? As a fighter, you think, okay, hands up, right? Protecting yourself in the ring, never let your guard down. But when you say protect yourself at all times, being outside the ring, I like that, because, again, being on the outside, fighters just want to fight, and that's it, and they don't want to deal with anything else, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't have to deal with everything else. The only thing they should be concentrating is fighting, and that's it. That's it. And for them to get them young. And one thing that I've realized, because I watch a lot of documentaries, and the saddest thing about it, they say that boxing, they consider it the poor man's sport, right?
Right.
So you got a lot of young athletes that don't have the money. That's what they say, okay? I'm not saying that's for everyone, but that's what the people say, that it's a poor man's sport. So you're coming out, and people who go pro, they just want to make this money, not realizing they just might find themselves in a Shark Tank, right? People who's trying to get all this percentage out of them, and they're not protecting themselves outside the ring, which I like that saying. I'm going to have to start using that one, outside the ring, not just inside. But what do you find most challenging being so young in the game? I'm not too sure if you're 28, correct?
29.
29, okay, 28, 29. Okay, you're 29 years old, and you deal with other people that's been in the game a lot longer. Do you find that very hard to deal with, someone who's very experienced, more knowledgeable than yourself, and then here comes this young 29-year-old, sitting there talking about, this and that. Do you find that part challenging, just trying to gain, people's trust that are older than you, with more experience than you?
In the beginning, when I first started, yes, it was very difficult. I was 24 at the time when I first started.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing I knew about boxing was how to do it inside the ring, because I was taught that in undergrad. But as far as gaining connections and knowing how things went, understanding contracts, I didn't understand any of that in the beginning. And it was very difficult, but I tried to reach out to certain people to help me out, but to no avail. No one wanted to help me out because the sport was, they were comfortable with who they had, whether it be representing guys or advising guys or whatever. So I literally had to learn things on the fly, and I had to fake it a lot. I had to fake like I understood certain things when I didn't. And after I got off the phone with someone, I would either go research something or I would go read what they were referring to, just to educate myself on the business of boxing. So it's not difficult now. At 29, I pretty much know everybody. I have a respect from everybody in the business, but at 24, 25, it was so difficult because I didn't know anybody. No one knew me. They knew Jerry Belmonte as the guy I represented, but I didn't know any of the lingo, the terminology. I didn't understand the contracts, but I had to educate myself and further learn the business I was in. It took time, and I'm still learning today, but it's easier nowadays because the credibility is there. And I'm just gaining respect from everyone. Seems like every day. So it's a learning process. But yeah, it was difficult, but now it's relatively easy.
Well, that's awesome. Well, now that you were listed on Forbes for 30 under 30, how much more clientele did you get? Or, because to be named, to be on that, and that's a huge thing to have behind you. And for it to read, are you the next Al Heyman? Right? Everybody knows who Al Heyman is. This dude is very, very powerful in the boxing world, and they're comparing you or not, well, saying, are you the next Al Heyman? How did you feel when you read that?
The Forbes list, I was shocked, to be honest with you. I got word that I was nominated, but I didn't think that they were actually going to select me.
And one of them, I'm going to interrupt, A$AP Rocky was on there, on that list.
Yeah.
So did you, yeah, there's a lot of people on that list, and you were one of them.
Right, yeah, no, it was, it was very flattering. A$AP Rocky, Cam Newton, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, Russell Wilson. I mean, it was a great group. So I mean, I'm in great company. But I mean, it's what I work for. I mean, I bust my butt every day for these guys and for myself and for the company. So I was shocked, but at the same time, I understood that that's what I worked for. So very flattered behind it. But as far as being the next Al Heyman, I mean, he's created this lane. I mean, he's created his he has his spot solidified in boxing history from what he's done. So I mean, he has his own lane. So I don't want to say that I'm the next Al Heyman. I pay homage to what he's done, and for me, that's where it stops. I'm a competitor in every sense of the word, and I don't know whether he's a boxing manager or a promoter, but I mean, if he's a boxing manager, I see him as competition. I want his spot. I mean, if he's the top guy right now, I want his spot. So as much as I pay homage to what he's done for the sport, like I said, that's where it stops for me, and I'm looking for ways to dethrone him from that top spot, because in my mind, I'm the best boxing manager. Until I get that spot and everybody recognizes me as that, then I need to work harder to make sure that he's second fiddle to me. So like I said, I respect what the man has done, but like I said, competitor in every sense of the word, man, and I'm looking to take his spot. Or whoever thinks that someone else, whether it be Cameron Duncan or Frank Espinosa, whoever they think is number one, I'm coming for that spot until they say Adrian Clark is the best boxing manager on the planet. That's my aim.
Well, you heard it, folks. Adrian Clark, he's coming for that number one spot. I feel like that song now. But anyways, but to be on that list, right? You named Cam Newton, you named Steve Curry. I mean, you named a few people on there, and they're looking at this list, right? These guys are that everybody knows, and they're looking at this list, and just say that Cam was looking at it, and he says Adrian Clark. And that name comes out of his mouth, like, who's Adrian Clark? But even though they've never met you personally, they read your name on that list along with them. So now your name is on their mind. So I think that's a huge accomplishment, not just because, they see you on there, but just to be on there and worldwide, everybody knows who you are or read about you. So in order to get on AC Sports Management, what do you look for in an athlete to say, you know what, I want to manage that athlete? Is there, I mean, I'm sure there has to be a criteria, but is there a certain criteria that you look for, especially if there's somebody, they got to be unique or something?
No, honestly, I help out everyone, and I think if you talk to majority of the professional boxers that have encountered Adrian Clark, they'll tell you that, man, he helped out. Whether it's a guy that's 4-22 or a guy that's 42-0, it doesn't matter. I'm open to help anyone, whether it be to get a fight or to put them in a position to talk to someone that could possibly get them a fight. Even if they're looking for management and I'm not the guy for them, I will point them in the direction of someone that can help them out. So I don't have a criteria. I'm literally here for the professional boxer. I like to call myself the professional boxer's manager because I'm open to help out or look to manage for everyone. So as far as the criteria to be a part of the company, I don't have one. If guys see fit to hire me to be their representative, then I look to come in and help them out in the best way possible. So that's not to say that I'm out here trying to get everybody under the umbrella of AC Sports Management, but I'm open to help out anybody that's a professional boxer, whether that's me being their primary manager or me just being someone that could lead them in the right direction. I'm open for whatever, as long as it's helping out the professional boxer.
Okay. So, look, you got a book that's out. It's called A Guide for Young Entrepreneurs. And on there's E.J. Spence, Errol Spence. Why did you put his name on the cover? I mean, is that something you guys collaborated, or
Well, once you open up the book, he does the foreword. So the beginning of the book, the very beginning of the book, he wrote a little excerpt to add to the book to pretty much show how it correlates from being a professional boxer to an entrepreneur. So he wrote his little, I think, 2 pages or something of that nature. But he is one of the top entrepreneurs in the city of Dallas. So I figured 2 young guys, 2 millennials from the city of Dallas, it'd be cool to have him kind of bless the book in a sense, and he agreed to it. So I mean, he's
that's awesome.
I don't consider it history. My book is not to me. It's not history yet, but he's a part of my story, and I'm a part of his story. Having him a part of the book, but I felt it'd be great to just have 2 young entrepreneurs from the city of Dallas kind of collaborate on the project and go from there.
He's up and coming. He's undefeated. I've known EJ from his amateur career, and he has a very big fight coming out. Shout out to him if he's listening. But let's talk about a guide for entrepreneurs. It's self-explanatory. But what probably was the most important thing that you think you could think of right now that if anybody was listening and they're young and one thing, I'm going to say this. I don't remember who said this, but somebody told me, if you don't know how to spell entrepreneur, then you just go work for somebody else.
I've never
and then I'm
heard that
sitting
before.
there. Yeah, I've heard it from a few people, and I'm thinking, do I know how to spell it? And I'm spelling it so, I'm really spelling it slow. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. But anyway, yeah, I've heard that a few times. If you can't spell it, you have no business going into business for yourself. But is there anything that you would think, now you can say that, right?
Right.
You're probably thinking, can I spell it? No, I'm just kidding. So
right.
What, you probably, okay, before she asks me, let me go ahead and start writing it down. Because I did. I'm not even going to lie. But anyway, do you think, what can you say about the book that you think is probably the most important thing for young entrepreneurs to take away from this book without giving, of course, everything away?
Oh, no, it's okay. I really would say it's 20 chapters pretty much. I break it down, things I went through on my entrepreneurial journey. But it's 20 chapters of kind of do's and don'ts, things you should do as an entrepreneur, things that you shouldn't do. But the chapter I talk about sacrifice. Without that, of course, life will be hard for all of us, but as an entrepreneur, you have to sacrifice so much for your vision or for your goal or for your dream. I would really want people to focus in on the sacrifice chapter, but then also just overall of the entire book. I never gave up, and I would urge all entrepreneurs, no matter how difficult or how hard it gets, just to never give up. The harder you work at this, the closer you'll get to your dream. But in that moment that you decide that you want to quit or stop, you may be 1 step or 2 steps away from your vision or from your goal or your dream, but you decided to quit 1 step before you actually got there. So the whole gist of the book is just telling individuals that want to be entrepreneurs or want to cross over from corporate America to entrepreneurship, is just to never give up because you never know how close you are to your dream by way of the work that you put in to get there. So it's a really short read. It's a really quick read. I'm really to the point in every chapter. I think the longest chapter in the book is maybe like 4 pages, but every chapter you read is very impactful and to the point. And by the time you close it, if you're not motivated or not amped up to go chase your dream, then you may need to check your pulse because you may not be alive if this doesn't impact you or motivate you. So I'm excited for people to read it.
Definitely. I seen this meme not too long ago, and it talked about an employee pulling up to the parking garage, and he sees his employer, his boss, and he drives up in a nice brand new BMW 2016, and the employee says, "Say, boss, that's a really nice car." The boss turns to him and says, "Look, if you work hard, work long hours, keep pushing for your goals, then next year I can get me a better car." That's deep. It's funny, but if you think about it, that's deep, right? Like
right.
you're slave and you're working hard for your boss to have a nice car while you're working paycheck to paycheck. And that just goes back to what you said, you need to check your pulse. Like, seriously, because when I saw that, I busted out laughing. I was like, you know what, you're so right. You're right. But anyway, listen, yeah, it is. I love that meme, and I keep that as a reminder. I'm a business owner myself. I own a mixed martial arts gym in Fort Worth, and I'll tell you, it's hard, when you're going into business. Right. Been in it for 3 years, but you just wrote this book, and you're 29 years old. Do you think you're going to write another book like this when you're like 40 or 50 years old?
Oh yeah, I'm a full-fledged author these days, so I'm gonna write a couple books. I'll probably have, by the time I'm 40, that's almost 10 years from now, I'll probably have maybe 4 or 5 books out already. At that point, so I'm all in when it comes to writing. I was really I was a journalist. I was journalism major my freshman year of college, so I've always loved to write. So now I got 1 book out the way. I've already started my second one, which I'll announce probably later on this year. But no, I'm gonna write a couple books before I get to 40 or 50.
Okay. Now this Saturday you're going to be at a book signing. You want to tell everyone where you're going to be at, where they can find you, and also where they can purchase your book. Okay.
Actually, you can go. The book signing's at Barnes & Noble's, which is on Northwest Highway, which is across from North Park Mall. So if you guys are familiar where North Park Mall is at, the Barnes & Noble is directly across the street, like right in the shopping center where the Cheesecake Factory is at. And I think that's Albertsons in the corner. But you can order the book online. If you can't make the book signing, you can order the book online either through Barnes & Noble's website, or you can go to Amazon.com and just type in the title of the book, the title is actually the letter I, lowercase I, and then a guide for young entrepreneurs. So whether it be Amazon, or you can get actually the downloaded version on either Kindle or Nook now. I've yet to release that or actually announce it. I actually just announced it on your show, but you can now get the Nook or Kindle version. You can download it by buying it on Amazon, or you can order through Barnes & Noble's website, or you can buy directly from me at the book signing on Saturday, which is at 4 p.m. at the Barnes & Noble's across from North Park Mall.
And what's the time frame, 4 p.m. to what time?
Through whenever I get through signing. I'm expecting maybe. Yeah, hopefully I'm not up there until closing time, but hopefully I'm there for maybe 2 or 3 hours at the max.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I just saw this YouTube video the other day, and you gave out a wealth of knowledge about, and something that I never even thought about myself. It's a boxer-manager agreement. Let's talk about that. Let's go more in depth. For those that haven't seen it, you can catch that on YouTube. You athletes, go watch that. Right. Seriously. I shared that on our Global Fight Talk page, and then I have another guy. He's out on the East Coast, and he shared it on the East Coast and along with some other boxing sites, because it was very, very good information. For those that are listening, you guys got to go watch. Go look it up. Go look it up. Let's talk about the boxer manager agreement that you put out not too long ago.
Yeah, it was something I've been thinking about for a while. Like I said, I come from the National Basketball Players Association, so they have a strict way of doing things over there. And like I said, there's a union, so the athletes' agents are regulated. How much money you're going to make, the contracts, all of those things are regulated through the union. So one thing I really enjoyed about being a sports agent for NBA players is that you had to really work hard to keep your client happy, whether it be phone calls or showing up at birthday parties or doing certain things like to make them happy so they won't fire you, so they won't go find a better agent. That really stood out to me and how everything was regulated. So crossing over to boxing where nothing is regulated, it seems like the fighters are seemingly fighting for their managers or to keep their managers happy or whatever it may be. I didn't like that. So even when I was working with guys, I didn't have my guys sign contracts. And a lot of people thought it was stupid or really risky, which it was risky, but Jerry Belmontes didn't sign a contract agreement with me, nor did James De La Rosa, Oscar Mojica, and none of the guys I represent, because I didn't want them to feel like they worked for me. And I sum it up to be this simple. Professional boxers are CEOs. They're business owners, just like you and I are. When they are hiring managers, they're paying these people also to do a service for them, just as the promoters pay the boxers to do a service, which is to come in and fight. After they fight, win, lose, or draw, as I said in the video, the promoters pay the boxers. So after the boxer fights, win, lose, or draw, he pays the manager for negotiating the deal. That does not mean that the boxer works for the manager. I mean, really think about it. The manager works for the boxer because the boxer is paying the manager. So when you're contracting someone's service, you need to have a contract in place for them to sign if you're paying them to do a service. So it was really backwards, and it's been backwards in boxing for quite some time, to where the paying individual, which is the boxer, they're signing a contract under the individual that they're paying. So it's like me, for your gym right now, you own the gym, Lisa. So if you hired me as your spokesperson, but I told you, okay, thank you for hiring me and you're going to pay me, but I need you to sign this contract under me that you can't fire me for the next 3 years, no matter how bad I'm doing, no matter how many deals I may have screwed up, or no matter how many fights I can't get you, or no matter how much I can't take care of the gym, you still have to pay me. That makes no sense whatsoever. And with sport not being regulated like boxing is, I can easily come in and do something like this to present the fighters with a contract for themselves that further protects themselves. So now with this contract, once you hire a manager and you contract his services, if he's not doing his job as the boxer, as the business owner, as the paying entity, you have the right to fire your manager if he's not doing his job. That's one of the incentives in the contract. And then also, on top of that, when you pay your manager, of course your manager negotiates the deal, but you have expenses to pay as a boxer. You have to pay for your licensing and more than likely your corner's license, and then your manager's license probably if he needs one, and then you have to pay your trainer, your cutman, and your assistant trainer if you pay all of those entities. Those are expenses that the fighter has to pay first before he does anything else. So after he pays his expenses, then he should pay his manager. That's the difference between gross and net. Most managers are taking gross, whatever their percentage is, right. They're taking from the fighter off of the top gross. It should not be that way because, again, you guys have expenses to pay. So once you pay your expenses,
exactly,
then you should pay your manager net. That's something that's added in the contract. So there's two things that are added in there that's totally different than right now. But I know I just said a lot. Of course, I'm passionate about it.
But you know, if I was in the audience, no, listen, if I was sitting in the audience and you're, up there on the podium speaking, I would be giving you snaps. I'd be okay. Like seriously, I always joke, sis. I'm joking 24/7. But seriously. But I always thought like that. But I never thought like in depth the way you are saying it. Because I always thought, I'm paying you. You are working for me. So why do I have to be under a contract? You know how you think about it, but it's not coming out the way you want to say it. So when you said that, I was just like, that's what I've been trying to say this whole time. And you said it perfectly. And, and now that, I seen it and I had, some of my team members shared it, there's a lot of people, a lot of athletes out there that I'm going to tag them in because right now they're in a situation not with their manager because then they have their coach, their trainer as their manager. And their trainer they put them under a contract. I know a person personally that I'm going to tag. I'm not going to mention his name, but I'm going to tag him in it because right now he's in a situation where he signed a 5-year contract, I believe. Don't get me wrong. It might be a little bit longer than that, okay? And so in order for him to get out, he had to pay a certain amount. And he didn't have a copy of his contract, right? And so he asked his former, boxing coach, I need to get out of my contract because I want to be training somewhere else. And then when he found, see, I'm just giving out too much information. But anyway, he upped the contract, to get out. He upped the amount for him to get out. So now he's just stuck. And he's stuck. And I said, man, that is not right. That the numbers keep changing or whatnot. And because of that, he hasn't fought because of that very reason. And so now he's thinking, should I fight here? Should I continue to be in boxing? Just stop my career in boxing and go do another sport, which is very sad. And this goes back to what you and what I mentioned earlier, that these young athletes, or not just young, because there's a lot of older, people that make that same mistake. It's just, not the knowledge that's not there, that I just want to fight. I'm going to sign a contract. Somebody's just going to give me just a little brief summary, or whatever. And, okay, I'm going to sign, and they don't even know what they're signing. Because because they're in that moment, right? Because in that moment, everything sounds good. You and your coach, whoever you signed that contract, you and your coach, or you that man, y'all good right now. And not even thinking that anything bad can happen a year from now or 6 weeks from now. So we good right now. So you know what? Me and you are going to sign a 5-10-year agreement because you and I are good. We're family, right? I'm sorry, there's no family when it comes to business.
Yes, exactly.
We're not family.
Everything is separate. Right, exactly.
Yeah, we're not family.
Everything is separate. Everything has to be separate. And like I tell these guys, I was like, man, it's not like you've heard the saying before. It's nothing personal. It's not personal. It's just business, and that's exactly what this is. But it really saddens me that most of the guys are just they're kind of. It seems like they're scared to run things, like run their career. I understand that us as managers, some of us know more about the business side of things than the boxer, and we have to focus on the business side of things because the fighter has to focus on boxing. But I will say this, boxers multitask all the time. They multitask, and then they learn how to adjust. They learn how to adjust in the ring during the fight, whether it be if they're cut or if they hurt their hand or something. Boxers, you guys learn to adjust to everything. You have to apply that outside the ring. So even though if you don't sit down in negotiations or you're not negotiating your own contract or whatever it may be, you still need to know how the business is ran, so someone can't just sit in front of you and tell you anything and you actually go for it. If you know the business and you know at least half of it, no one can just sit down in front of you and say, oh, yeah, this is what they're offering, or, hey, I want to do this, or, hey, we're going to do that. You should have stake in what is going to be done or said as owner of your company, and that's what I'm really pushing boxers to do. I'm not trying to get them to be their own manager, but what I'm trying to get them to do is to be able to control and regulate what their manager does and not vice versa.
I swear, everybody that's listening, you guys really have to go look this up on YouTube. Just search Adrian Clark, Boxer Manager Agreement. It gives you wealth of knowledge. I've learned so much in that time that I spent. It's probably, a 10-minute long video. Whatever it is, I swear, it's worth listening to. It really is, and I'm going to share it, and I'm going to tag a few people, and I'm going to share it in with a lot of other journalists that I know that that's in the boxing scene. But do you ever think about just going outside of boxing, and if an MMA fighter comes up to you and say, hey, I heard so much about you, Adrian, and so brought me to you. Do you ever think about going into the MMA side of things, especially that it's blown up so big now?
I don't understand much about the sport. Besides, of course it's combative, but as far as like the rules and I don't understand enough about it. And I always told myself the only two sports I would represent are the two sports that I actually participated in, which is basketball and boxing. So I would have to say I would have to gain more knowledge of. I'm very much so a nerd. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very. I love research and reading about things, or reading up on things, or educating myself on more things. So I would have to tell whoever the athlete is. I would have to research the sport a little bit and see if it would make sense for both of us. And if I could be the best at it and I can get the best deals for that particular person, then yeah, I would do it. But if I would be a disservice to them, then no, I would not do it. I would just more so play the background and be an advisor to them, but I would not be the primary manager because I don't know enough about the sport.
Right. Fair enough. Well, Adrian, listen, I could sit here and talk to you all night. You know, you have so much information that you can give out. We're going to have to definitely do a part 2 to this. But I really appreciate your time, you know, speaking. You know, there was so much that you talked about your book. Everybody, he's going to be Saturday at Barnes & Noble's at 4 p.m. off of Northwest Highway. Go check him out. Go talk to Adrian. Get his book. I'm sure there's so much that he's put out there for a guide for young entrepreneurs. Again, go check out his YouTube page, Adrian Clark, Boxer Manager Agreement. I mean, he's 30 under 30, Forbes list. Come on, guys. And also, you know, he has AC Sports Management. He is the founder of that. So this guy obviously knows what he's talking about and what he's doing. Is there anything else that you would like to add that I don't know, other than you played basketball, you did amateur boxing, and, you know, you have all these things going? Is there anything else?
I'm a really easygoing guy. Like I said, I'm a nerd. I'm a homebody, so
you like long walks on the park. Just kidding, right. With single ladies trying to listen.
Right, exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Listen.
No. Yeah,
I'm kidding. But anyway,
thank you for having me. I really, like I said, it's an honor for me to have shared the phone with you and to be a part of Global Talk. So thank you guys for having me, and I hope to join you guys again someday soon.
Definitely, we got to do it. Definitely got to do it again. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is Global Fight Talk. Again, my name is Lisa Marie, and my special guest tonight was none other than Adrian Clark himself. Adrian, you have a good night, and we definitely got to do this again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.